The Hidden Cave, Unveiling the Dark Secrets of Las Brujas. Scary story. In the heart of Michoacán, I reunited with a long-lost cousin who arrived at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Our conversations extended into the late night, shared with uncles. As we delved into the mysterious, my cousin posed a question. Do you believe in witches? Without hesitation, I affirmed, recounting the numerous times I had unraveled the dark enchantments that plagued our lives. My cousin saw me. I want to show you something tomorrow. We went to sleep. In the morning after breakfast, my cousin told me, come, I will show you something. We walked a little, and we left the road towards a hill. We went up a little to the hill. There was a path. It was seen that it was frequent to climb the hill. When we arrived at a large stones, my cousin climbed on one of them. I followed him behind. There was a cave. My cousin carried a lamp. We entered. It smelled bad. I really thought that there was a dead animal. He illuminated, and I could see some engravings on the wall, some drawn and others carved in the stone. At a moment we heard a moan and something crawling. My cousin illuminated, and a black shadow ran out. My cousin said it was gone. We walked a little further, and there was an altar with several images and candles. We could see remains of blood and flesh. My cousin took a stone that looked like obsidian. He kept it in a bandana inside his jacket, and we kept looking, and voices were heard. Little by little, they became clear. My cousin pointed me to the exit. We walked quickly out of the cave and started to go down. Near us, a stone fell. We turned to the cave. There was an old woman. She was covered a little with a black cloth, and her eyes were red. She began to squeal like a pig. The witch's horror story. My cousin began to walk faster. Me too. And being at a distance, we saw the woman standing there on the rocks at the entrance, and next to her 2 other figures. Reaching the road, we ran until we reached the town square. There, my cousin told me that they were witches and that they steal farm animals. He had stolen a couple of fighting cocks, so it was to get paid with something. He showed me. The stone was more like a black crystal, but in the sunlight it was brown. He invited me to eat. My cousin told me more stories of the place, and right in front of us stood a woman who was maybe 37 or 40 years old. Her gaze was quite strong, and she looked at us with anger. I looked at her. At that time, I had a small rosary on my wrist. I took it off and extended it. I began to pray. My cousin did not know what to do. The woman turned around and left. My cousin told me that this woman was rarely seen. She was always locked up in her house. We finished eating. My cousin looked nervous and began to scratch his right arm. He was like that for a while he showed me different parts of town. I felt that we were being followed. I could see the same woman a couple of times. I followed her a little with my eyes, and my cousin complained of a pain in his arm when I saw him. He had a bruise, and his arm was swollen. The fingers of his hand were quite red. We walked to a pharmacy. I bought alcohol and gauze and a bandage. I wet the cotton with the alcohol and put it on his arm. He felt that it was burning, but with the alcohol he felt a little relief. We went to look for a doctor. Fortunately, we found one. He went to the doctor's office, and I left the office. I had my cousin's jacket, and I saw the woman. I took out my rosary. I put it in my hand and walked towards her. I told her, I know you are following us. Who are you? She answered me. It doesn't matter. Give me what the other man took from the cave. I told her what is happening to her arm is the fault of that right. She replied, "Whoever steals from me gets the punishment, and so it will be." I answered her, "You also stole my cousin's roosters," she answered. "They were good sacrifices," I told her. "And if I give you back that crystal, my cousin will heal." She began to laugh and answered, "Of course not." I took out the crystal and surrounded it with my rosary. I still had a little bit of alcohol. I took it out. The woman looked at me and said, "I know that you look at the dead, and I know that you have taken away the works of other sisters and brothers of mine. Many of them want you dead." I answered her, "Many of those jobs have destroyed families, and if I have taken them away, each one is condemned by doing that. It will also happen to you. Take that job away from my cousin, or I will set fire to this glass. I don't care if people look at it." She took a plant out of her clothes, began to chew it, and spit it into a bag. She replied, "Take it, put it in his arm. Tomorrow he will be fine. Tell him not to go up again, or he won't come down." I took the bag and saw that she was telling the truth. I gave her back the glass, and she turned around. My cousin left the office and called me when I looked back. She was gone. I walked with my cousin to his house. My aunt checked his arm and told him it was swollen. My cousin put his left hand in the bag of his jacket, but found nothing. "What happened with the crystal, cousin?" I answered him. "Maybe it fell on the way." I took out what the witch spit out. I told him to come. I took the bandage off his arm and began to smear those herbs. It smelled bad, but I continued. My cousin told me the same thing, but he felt that something cold calmed the pain. At night, his arm and fingers were less swollen, and in the morning, he was completely fine. I told him this was given to me by the witch of the cave. She told me never go up again, or you will not come down. I left 2 days later, a year after that. My aunt told me that my cousin disappeared. He has been missing for 10 years now. Some neighbors saw my cousin going up the hill. I knew why he disappeared. I told my aunt. When they went to investigate, they only found my cousin's t-shirt. They never found his body. The woman was never seen again. I never saw my cousin again. Thank you for joining us for this spine-tingling story. We hope you found it both thrilling and thought-provoking. If you enjoyed this video, please consider participating in our channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing it with your friends. Your support goes a long way in helping us create more engaging content for you. Goodbye, and may you always tread carefully in the world of the unknown.